Well, a very good evening. Thank you very much for choosing GHOne TV. It's always a delight when I join you in the evening with nothing but the best of stories making headlines throughout the country. Tonight is no exception. We'll come the length and breadth, and we'll make sure you get the top-notch stories that you're looking forward to. Before we fill you in with the details, let's look at some of the top stories that we have for you tonight. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, children in search of avocado pear encounter tragedy as one of them dies after the canoe they were traveling in capsized on the Ochi River in the central region. Also coming up tonight, lawyers of Embattled former NSB boss write to National Security Coordinator on national security implications of arraigning their clients. Details as Kwabena Adu-Boahene accuses EOCO boss of misrepresentation and distortion of facts. More assessment pour in on President Mahama's 120 days in office as the country awaits his address later tonight.
Too early. And the Yemen at least roughly 6 months.
The city is catching up with the dollar. That's a good improvement.
We can predict that he's going to do better, and then we are expecting him to do better anyway.
Tonight, let's bring religion up. We tell you what happens behind the closed doors of the conclave as Cardinals begin process of electing new pope.
No cardinal is allowed a mobile phone or other telecommunication gadgets, even Wi-Fi is blocked.
Well, tonight we have these and many other interesting stories making the 1 hour bulletin. Stay with us because it promises to be interesting and filled with all the details that you would be waiting for. I come back shortly with the latest. Right on a sad note tonight, a devastating incident occurred earlier today when a canoe carrying children capsized on the Ochi River near Asen Ochiso in the central region. Unfortunately, 12-year-old Kojo Edu, also known as Joe, was pronounced dead upon arrival at the local clinic, while 4 other children aged 6 to 12 were rescued and hospitalized. The community responded swiftly to the distress call, retrieving 4 children alive while Kojo's body was found submerged underwater. Well, the victims included 3 siblings and a friend, as well as the canoe's paddler. Well, according to reports, the children were heading towards Amwanda in the Ejumako Enyen Esiem district in search of avocado pears, while with the only route being a perilous canoe crossing. Kaspa News' Jan spoke. President Mahama's first 120 days in office as nothing short of impressive and inspiring. Well, to mark the 120 days in office, President Mahama is expected to address the nation at 8:30 p.m. tonight, providing a comprehensive update on the progress made so far. The 26-point document outlines commitments on economic management, the conduct of government officials, and a range of social interventions. My colleague Kweku has more in this report.
We'll scrap the following draconian taxes to alleviate hardship and ease the high cost of doing business in our first 90 days in office.
It's here, the first 120 days of President John Mahama's return to the Jubilee House. Back in December, he laid down a bold 11-page blueprint with 26 promises. Today, the countdown clock hits 0. So, has the ink turned into action? President Mahama had promised to constitute the leanest and most efficient government in his first 90 days in office. So far, 56 ministerial positions have been occupied, constituted by 23 ministers, 16 regional ministers, 13 deputy ministers, and 4 ministers of state. Another was the establishment of robust code of conduct and standards for all government officials.
I have imposed a ban on non-essential travel forthwith to cut down expenditure. Any travel that is deemed essential and necessary must be cleared first with the Office of the Chief of Staff. And such travels will have to be undertaken in modesty, no first class.
Assets declared cannot take checkbox for everyone. First class flights banned, check. Let's talk economy. The president mentioned the need to hold a national economic dialogue to discuss the true state of the economy.
At the heart of our vision for Ghana's future is the implementation of a 24-hour economy that works for all. This strategy will revolutionize our economic landscape. It will create sustainable jobs and position Ghana as a competitive force on the global stage.
Dialogue happened. Now we wait to see if it was more than just a group therapy session for economists. He vowed to take a chainsaw to the unpopular taxes, e-levy, COVID levy, 10% levy on bet winnings, and the emissions levy.
We will abolish the 10% withholding tax on betting. We will abolish the electronic transfer levy, e-levy of 1%. We will abolish the emission levy, otherwise as the weekday tax.
Some are gone, but the COVID levy still hanging around like the one guest who won't leave the party. Let's segue into social interventions. Enter Mahama Cares. Not a Netflix drama, but a healthcare fund. Also in play, free tertiary education for persons with disabilities.
This Ghana Medical Trust Fund program, those is coming to help are your clients who save their money in your banks. You are giving it not just to help people, but to help your own clients and your customers and your own staff.
A solid move from the rhetoric to reach. Job creation programs such as a Jumera program, National Apprenticeship, 1 million coders. The CV is growing. Let's hope the job market follows. In arts and culture, the Black Star Experience is here to give Ghana's tourism a little razzle-dazzle. Think less paperwork, more passports. And finally, the crown jewel, the 24-hour economy. Not just a slogan anymore. Gusi Tando is advising, a 90-member committee is plotting, and the president himself is chairing. So if you're wondering when Ghana won't sleep, apparently it's in the works. 120 days in, the checklist has ticks, asterisks, and a few TBDs. Promises were made, and while not all have been kept, the wheels are certainly turning.
All right, so tonight we want you yourself to give us your impression about the president's first 120 days in office. But we're out there getting more opinion or seeking more opinion from the public and duty bearers. Well, MPP 2024 manifesto spokesperson on health, Dr. Ekuya Amwako, says she will score President Mahama some 45% on his 120-day social contract with Ghanaians. Well, Dr. Amwako demanded from the president why the much talked about COVID levy remains unscrapped. Well, she spoke on our morning show, GH Today.
DC use the excuse of bureaucracy and basically just how the system runs as an excuse for some of the things they haven't fulfilled. But to me, that's a huge letdown, not just for us, but for all Ghanaians, because the expectation is that His Excellency John Mahama has been president before, so he understands the system properly. So when he was making these comments here, we've done our own analysis. We humbly give him about 45%. If you give us some time, we can go through it. It's quite clear. And they were very clever with the wording. Some of the things, when they are campaigning, oh, we would do this, but in the 120-day contract, it says initiate. So when you are judging them, even the 45 is a very, I don't know how it's a very let my people go score.
All right, so you can put your own score out there for us on our social media platforms. We'll make sure the rest of the world hears about it. But yes, we took to the streets to find out what you make of President Mahama's first 120 days in office. Take a listen.
So far, so good. I think majority of Ghanaians will be glad that they voted for him because of the changes that he has brought so far. And then I think 120 days is too early to judge him, but from what he has done, we can predict that he's going to do better, and then we are expecting him to do better anyway.
I think he's doing well. I mean, all the promises that he promised to deliver so far, I think about 90% has been done. So my assessment is so far so good.
In terms of percentage, 99, because so far so good. Every president, another president, be or yes and or yeah. In terms of principle, there was someone Ghana for who say, and your politics na ye. Na dia uka ye no na odi be den. Ube kana Ghana for nyina who say, oh, dia uka ye no na wo ye no. Fine, so far so good, but it's too early. And the man at least roughly 6 months or 1 year. Now fi ehonu na ahwe de and so far so good.
Even though he said he will do some certain things, he's still working on it, but he has also done other things. The city's catching up with the dollar. That's a good improvement. So I think it's too early to judge him. We should give him at least a year, 1 whole year, then we can judge him. After a lot of presidents have promised and failed, but he's working on it. And he recently said it's not easy. So we should just give him time.
All right, so now ahead of President Mahama's 120-day social contract address, transparency in everything they do. So yes, she's basing it on transparency and saying they've done well. I'll still stay with Twitter where I am Asante1. Let's bring the underscore in there. Finance Minister has done really well. So yes, she didn't elaborate, but says Finance Minister has done it. Ghanaian obedient at Kofi 27, and the numbers continue, but I'm sure Kofi, you know yourself. Kofi says, I can't say or pinpoint. It's like they are playing as a team than having a star man in the team. They're all doing well so far. So yes, Kofi saying it's not one person to point out, but it's about all of them. Let's get to Nana Esilfi. Nana is saying that I think it's too early. Perhaps we can talk about the foreign minister. Let's give them some 6 months. By then, their policy will start yielding results. We can then evaluate. So, yes, Nana is not in the rush, but this is from X, formerly Twitter. Now we'll look at Facebook. Yes, and John Jr. is here. Every sector needs budgetary allocation to efficiently prosecute their agenda and initiatives. And we as a nation need economic recovery and turnaround. So, to me, the finance minister is the one on top of issues. So far, so very well. He's given it to the finance minister. I'll get to Frank Adams. He also goes to Minister of Finance. He has been able to bring stability to the economy within the 4 months in power. His hard work is reflected on Ghanaians at a no increase in prices of goods and services as it used to be in the previous administration. So yes, Finance Minister, you're getting a lot in there. So yes, those are your views, but keep it coming because we're here to share all the details with you. And like we mentioned early on, tonight is live here on GHOne TV. We'll listen to the president at 8:30 p.m. on his first 120 days in office. Well, ahead of the address tonight, African Education Watch scored the president some 81% on fulfillment of education promises in 120-day social contract like we've been talking about, and on matters of the economy. Economist, Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business, Professor John Gachi, also commended the President and Finance Minister for ensuring a stable exchange rate. Well, let's engage governance aspect with the Faculty of Law and International Relations aspect with King's University College. That's Professor Adu-Boahene. Prof, thank you for your time. We are delighted that you're here with us tonight to assess the President's first 120 days in office. What aspects of President Mahama's 120-day social contract stands out to you as most impactful?
Thank you very much. Thank you for the work you do for the country.
I'm grateful.
As a matter of fact,
it could be my 120 days, actually.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. As a matter of fact, so many things stand out. It's not a single thing I can put my thumb on. You know, when you think of the way he was able to put the cabinet together within 14 days and send it to Parliament, and Parliament approved them and all that. And they started work seriously from the word go. And that we know is the leanest, the smallest government that we have had under any of the democracies, not only Fourth Republic alone, all the democracies we've had. Military rule, at times the numbers are down. But so far as democracies are concerned, first, second, third, and fourth, I think is the smallest that we have seen. And very efficient, because each person seems to be working very well. And yes, the president has set a tone for the cabinet. He has established a code of conduct and standards, which he is following. And yes, he expects all the ministers to follow. And I think that's going well. And one major thing which the previous administration had, which wasn't good, and we are yet to see how far they went with the aura, that this government, the president has established a policy that no government member, no cabinet member should purchase anything which is for the government. In other words, the government properties are for Ghanaians, so no officer is supposed to purchase anything. And I believe that will be a very remarkable thing. So if you ask me what I've put my hand on now, I would say that's a good move, because once we see all what the rot that went on during the last administration, and this government is standing up and saying that, okay, nobody is going to buy this and all that, I think it's a good point that Ghanaians should give him enough praise, because that's where the corruption starts. And he is trying to keep the members of the government in line, that they are there and they have to declare their assets. That's also another important thing. And yes, he has given them about May something that if you don't declare your assets, then you count yourself out of cabinet. So I think the government policies and the way the president is going is good for the country.
Well, Prophet Jenny Watson, it's interesting, but you see, these are early days yet, 120 days. If you're pegging it against 4 years at least. But let me find out from you, do you foresee any challenges in sustaining that momentum beyond the 120 days? Because yes, they've all started with a lot of energy. Do you think in 2 years' time, we might come back here and say, well, reality is setting in?
Thank you very much. That's a good point. And it's something that we have to watch it together. It's like somebody running, say, for instance, 1,500. Yes, they will start. But as they finish first round, second round, third round, their speed may slow down. There are others too, as they run and go first round, second round, third round, they will work hard to increase their speed to finish the last lap. So yes, it depends on what will happen. But at the moment, we see how efficient and how quick they are going. But we are yet to see, as you said, in about 6 months' time or in about a year's time. And that will give us the chance to assess them again and see how the following 3 years will be. So we'll see if it will continue like it's going now. But at the moment, it's the best I've seen so far as democracies are concerned. They are going very fast, and they are implementing policies and establishing whatever they need to do, go to Parliament, to make sure some laws are put in place and all that. So they are all good. They are all good. So let's give them some time, as you said. But they may be able to maintain the speed. They may be able to increase it, or definitely it could also come down.
All right. So Prophet Adu-Boahene, just before I allow you to go, because this time has really hit us hard, I want to find out from you. So the president is expected tonight on our networks to address the nation on his first 120 days. Tonight, I'd want you to shortly tell us some of the key things that you would expect him to highlight on.
Then I will talk about all what I've mentioned now. Then I will talk about, I will shorten some things like the levies. The levies that he promised he was going to do away with. The levy, those who betting tax, 10% and all that sort of thing. They are all notable things that he has done, which people are very appreciative of. So I think it will come. And all the whatever, the social interventions, the sanitary part for primary and high school students, the free first year free school fees, and the free education for free university education for handicaps and all that sort of thing. They are all very important, I think. And I believe with the contract, I can say that he has met a little over 80% of it. So,
all right, so Prophet Adu-Boahene, thank you very much tonight. It will be on our network right at 8:30 p.m. Do make a date with us and stay with us as the president addresses the nation on his first 120 days in office. We will be telecasting it live. Well, that'll be all for Insight for tonight, but definitely when we come back, we're bringing you more on the former NSB boss scandal. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Keeping faith with us, we're back with some more local stories and some updates here tonight. There are emerging details on the case involving former National Signals Bureau boss, that's the NSB boss, who is facing charges including stealing and money laundering, with his wife and other accomplices. Would want to furnish you with all the details tonight. My colleague Emmanuel Ejabin is joining us. He is with our research desk. He joins us with all the details. Emmanuel, good evening.
Good evening, Kweku. On that score, on the letter dated 6th May 2025, addressed to the National Security Coordinator, lawyers for Kwabena Adu-Boahene highlight national security implications of arraigning their clients. Well, they say the intended prosecution violates a number of acts, the Intelligence Agency Act 2020, Act 1030, and the National Signals Bureau Act 1040. Let me share with you more details of that particular letter cited by GHOne News. And it says, as you are no doubt aware, the Attorney General has arraigned our client, a former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, on various criminal charges. Our client has instructed us that a careful look at the case from the documents you inherited underscores the fact that the pit of the Honorable Attorney General's case are matters bordering on national security. Besides, the intended prosecution violates the Security and Intelligence Agency Act 2020, Act 1030, and the National Signals Bureau Act 2020, Act 1040. We attach a memorandum under the hand of our clients, who is at the moment incarcerated as the Economic and Organized Crime Office EOCO cells. May we count on your usual sense of professionalism in your evaluation and the proffering of the critical understanding of the matters therein contained. So this is the letter that was written by lawyers for Kwabena Adu-Boahene on his behalf, attaching a particular memo where we get into the details of that memo, which was written by himself, Mr. Kwabena Adu-Boahene himself, to the National Security Coordinator boss.
2025 confidential memo to the National Security Coordinator cited by GHOne News, the embattled former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Kwabena Adu-Boahene, writes, quote, "Your kind attention is drawn to certain developments that have arisen following our unsuccessful attempt to meet due to scheduling conflict with your good office. You will recall that subsequent to my arrest and detention in EOCO cells, the Attorney General of the Republic has been very vocal in a number of press briefings where he brands my wife and I as criminals and alludes to transactions between a certain national BNC account and private BNC account purportedly owned by us," unquote. In a memo copied to the National Security Advisor and the current Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Mr. Adu-Boahene further states, quote, "I cannot tell where the AG gets his theories from, but as your good office will have learned by now, the matter relates to transactions between your Special Services account, that's the Special Operations account, Coordinated account, and SPV account, and that is BNC Communications Bureau, duly authorized and created for the national security exigencies of the time, and for which my wife, duly vetted, and the UMB were instrumental in facilitating. It is bizarre that the Attorney General attempts to link unrelated transfers, withdrawals, and refunds for special operations with assets we do not own and a few we own, which mostly predate the 2020 transactions he raised. A cursory look on the part of anyone will reveal these facts. I am also disturbed to note that the services of bloggers and social media influencers have been employed to post and run commentary on these lies to amplify the matter and bring prominence to this malicious agenda against not just our persons, but the national security as well. As this ridiculous drama unfolds, some 49 million Ghana cedis of special operations funds have now become the subject of court action, where my wife and I, as well as other affiliates, are being accused with charges including stealing and causing financial loss to the state. I have tried to withhold classified information from my interrogators, but I deem it prudent to inform your good office that, in light of the current development, we run the risk of public disclosure of the following national security and intelligence operations expenditure items, unquote. We will bring in details of that expenditure shortly. The letter continues, quote, "I give you my highest assurances that Angela and I will never steal public funds, as is being deliberately and wickedly portrayed by the Attorney General. In any case, How does one steal public funds in the manner being described by the Attorney General without being flagged by the Auditor General? Further, I give you my highest assurances that Angela and I will never take what does not belong to us, even if privately arranged. We are full of content with the modest blessings God has given us. What is evidently clear is that the EOCO boss, Raymond Acha, is deliberately misrepresenting or distorting the facts to the authorities and in the process causing unnecessary sensation that will embarrass the government and national security. And I'm craving your urgent intervention to avert it before it becomes too late. My best regards from EOCO cells. Unquote.
Also, just gone by is the memo from Kwabena Adu-Boahene highlighting a number of items. Now, point 6 of that particular memo speaks about special operations expenditure. We have the breakdown for you. It talks about 10 different expenditure line items and makes up about 49 million Ghana cedis. The first of it is about some 9.5 million Ghana cedis spent in the year 2020 in respect of some 5 special operations. Operation the SCN1, SCN2, Scorpion, and Hive. As well, the second one looks at Operation Conquered Face, which was spent between 2020 and 2024, which was some 6.9 million. It was in respect of counter-terrorism, and it was for the stability of the nation. The third one was Operation Calm Life, which is anti-kidnapping and violent crimes, some 3.7 million. The next one was in respect, the next one, that's the fourth and the fifth expenditure line item, was in respect of some allowances paid to members of parliament for considering the enactment of certain acts for the NSB. So it's in about close to 1 million, actually 1.2 million Ghana, in excess of it, 1.2 million Ghana cedis that were paid between 2020 to 2024. The first one of 960,000 paid to members of the Defense and Interior Committee was in respect of the enactment of the NSB Act 2020, 960,000. The next one was paid in 2024, some 300,000 in respect of monies paid to the Special Legislative Committee of Parliament. Now, the next 5, the 6th and the 7th and the 8th all had to do with election special ops. Now, if you look at the entire amount, it's some in excess of some 21 million Ghana cedis. The first one in December 2020 was spent to ensure there is stability in the nation. 2024 as well, 6.7 million spent in respect of stability as well in the nation for December 2024. On the 8th one, which is for election special ops, it was in support for national communication equipment for the collation of results by an opposition party, and the detail of who received that particular amount is classified. So we spent 8.3 million Ghana cedis in September 2024 for that particular equipment, but whoever received that amount is classified. The 9th one has to do with election special ops logistics. We bought 3 vehicles, 2 Nissan Patrols and 1 Toyota V8 Land Cruiser GXR, and it was in excess of 5 million Ghana cedis were received in December 2024 by the Special Aid to the President-elect. 5.1 million Ghana cedis in December 2024. As well, in 2024, 520,000 spent on generators, all in respect of human security ops, all geared towards stability of the nation. So that is the entire breakdown of some 49 million Ghana cedis stemming from that particular account. Kweku.
Yeah. All right, Emmanuel, thank you very much for the breakdown in there. I guess with all this information, it's now time for us to engage the lawyers. And Wayo Ganamanti is a lawyer and joins us to explore concerns of national security implications raised by Mr. Adu-Boahene's lawyers. Let me emphasize his name, Ganamanti. He stands for Ghana. So tonight he shares all the details with us on this particular case. Well, grateful lawyer for your time. Let me find out from you. So lawyers for Kwabena Adu-Boahene, you inclusive, highlights national security implications of arraigning their clients. Obviously with the breakdown and some of the classified information that we've just heard from my colleague, it tells you more. Now they say the intended prosecution violates the Intelligence Agencies Act 2020, Act 1030 and the National Signals Bureau's Act 1040. Share with us any merits in here.
Thank you very much, my good brother. Oh, my brother, it is very good to see you once again. It's been ages. It's been ages.
Absolutely,
I'm so happy to see you back on the airwaves in Ghana. Good. Thank you very much. I think from what is being exposed as a lawyer, and where I'm looking at the letter from Mr. Adu-Boahene himself, as well as the letter from his lawyers, and quoting these laws, I can say that the lawyers of Mr. Adu-Boahene are not doing him any good. In fact, the duty of a lawyer is to be diligent and get your client out of trouble, especially if it's a criminal prosecution. We're taught that the first thing you must think of is how to get your client out of danger, especially when it's criminal offense, because it is about going to jail or getting the freedom. And I will say that the letter from Mr. Adu-Boahene himself, as you have given to the public, now incriminates him. That letter of 5th May 2025, he is now admitting that Attorney General is making certain assertions, and those assertions are in respect of some transfers, withdrawals, or special operation accounts linked to assets he doesn't know, and some few assets that he is aware of. That area alone raises the issue of prima facie. So you see how Mr. Adu-Boahene himself has incriminated himself. Because now you have told the Attorney General that, well, the withdrawals, the transfers are all linked to assets I have no idea, and some few that I have idea in respect of. That grants the Attorney General's prosecution. Now, going to the laws that the lawyers have quoted, if you look at the Security and Intelligence Agencies Act 2020, Act 1030, Section 42, 43, 44 is clear on how do we disclose information as somebody who has once worked with an intelligence agency. Mr. Adu-Boahene was a Director General. The law is very clear. The law that his lawyers have quoted are very clear that he cannot disclose information that came to him when he was in office. And even if he has to disclose information, 43 says that it is the agency that will give him the permission after the minister has given the permission. So he went with Signal Bureau. It is the current director of the Signal Bureau who must seek permission from the minister. And in this law, if you say the Minister for National Security, who permits the Director General now that go ahead and give Adu-Boahene permission to release information. And I don't think the director of the Signal Bureau today has given, I don't think the Ministry of National Security has given the director of Signal Bureau any permission.
So with all this explanation, Ganamanti, is there any provision of continuing this case while mitigating the possible national security implication?
It is perfect. Like I said earlier, it is clear that Mr. Adu-Boahene in his letter of 5th May has already implicated himself. If you say you don't know where the Attorney General gets his information from, you don't know where the drama is coming from, and then go ahead to admit that Attorney General's assertion of some withdrawals, some monies linked to some assets you don't know, and some few assets you know, that portion alone gives Attorney General prima facie case that come and answer. He goes ahead to say his wife was vetted and UMB was given a green light. That is conflict of interest. Article 286 says be very careful when you are in public service of conduct that will not conflict your personal interest and your duty. The moment his wife comes in, that alone breaches Article 286 of the Constitution on the Code of Conduct of Public Officers. So what it is that his lawyers have now, in fact, given up because that letter of 5th May has grounded the Attorney General's prosecution. Granted that Attorney General will even forget about the transfers and the rest. You are now admitting that there are some assets that is linked to a certain withdrawal or some of the monies. That alone will now give the Attorney General the mandate to bring you to court to come and answer those things. Your wife was in there. You say your wife was vetted. Your wife is your wife. Conflict of interest. You come and answer. So now he has opened the Pandora's box for Attorney General's prosecution to be grounded.
Lawyer Ganamanti, I thank you so much. You have broken it down well for us. Within the coming days, we would want to see how matters unfold. But we're looking at other stories at this moment, and here, as recently as May 2024, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, that's the GCAA, announced it was in the final stages of certifying a new airline carrier to serve as the national airline and proudly fly the flag of Ghana high. Now, the then Director General, Engineer Charles Kweku, revealed that 2 additional airline companies were also undergoing a rigorous certification and licensing process to operate in the country. Well, nearly a year later, a newly inaugurated 10-member committee has been tasked with steering the aviation agenda forward. But what exactly is its mandate? Well, are they building on the foundation laid by Engineer Kweku and his team, or is this just another bureaucratic cycle with no lift off in sight? First, let's revisit where the journey began.
The process to restart a Ghana national air carrier been going on for decades after the collapse of the national carrier, the Ghana Airways, and subsequently Ghana International Airlines. Those processes, no matter the level of assurance and promises, fizzle out along the line, leaving Ghana with all its aviation safety records without a national airline in the air. The last 2 administrations of Mills Mahama and the infamous Akufo-Addo regime have intensified efforts, but none has produced the desired result as yet. It becomes more worrying when one considers that smaller economies like republics of Togo, Benin and Gambia, among others in the sub-region, have all had their national flags in the skies. However, the Director General of the GCAA, Engineer Charles Kweku, is optimistic the Ghana flag will soon fly high in the skies.
We have some that have expressed interest. 2 major stages, that's the commercial aspect of it, and then the technical aspect of it. The commercial aspect is look at their business plan, what they intend doing, whether the airlines will be feasible. So currently we have about 2 that are in the stage of the air carrier license, and then air operator certification, that's the last stage, where you have to go through the 5 stages. We have done the first 3, we are in the 4th stage of licensing, and we hope that eventually we conclude on the 4th stage. Then the 5th stage, which is just the presentation of the certificate.
Engineer Charles Kweku also spoke about the efforts to increase the number of Ghanaian registered airlines.
We've gone through the ACL, which is the Air Carrier License Certification, the second part, which is the Air Operator Certification. We've gone through the first 3. The 4th one is the demonstration stage. That is where we are currently. Whenever they are ready, our technical team are available, and we conduct the certification. And after they've concluded on the 4th stage, they will be licensed as an airline that is registered in the country.
Can't wait to see the Ghana Air flying high. Well, it's now time for us to bring you all the updates that you're looking forward to from our world of business. In business tonight, the Director General of the National Communications Authority, I'm talking about the NCA, Reverend Engineer Edmond Yerenchifianku, has urged the Communications Minister Sam George to incorporate training for youth on fiber optic cable laying and maintenance in the 1 million coders program. Well, he believes this initiative, when implemented, will eradicate the frequent incidents of fiber cuts that result in service disruption and also curtail the costs incurred by telecom service providers. Well, the NCA board spoke during the launch of the Telecommunications Industry Optic Fiber Minimum Specifications and Standards Manual.
According to the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, the rampant damage to fiber optic cables has cost telcos nearly $10 million in repairs in 2024 alone. Speaking to the media at the launch of the Telecommunications Industry Optic Fiber Minimum Specifications Manual, the Director General of the National Communications Authority, Reverend Engineer Edmond Yerenchifianku, advocates for targeted training.
What has been dubbed the 1 million coders, I made a request that, provision for training on fiber optic cables, laying and maintenance should be included in the program so that we have a critical mass of young people who are trained in the proper laying and maintenance of fiber optic infrastructure. So that was one of the key things that I spoke about. But I also mentioned that it is not enough to have a standard. More important is to enforce it.
On his part, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, Engineer Dr. Ken Asigbe, indicates that there is a need for stricter legal regime governing standards regarding fiber optics handling, thereby protecting this delicate infrastructure.
So in terms of the consumer, what would happen with all of this is the fact that once the fiber is laid properly, once the quality standards are adhered to, what it would do is that the quality of your service, so when you make a call, the quality of your call, the quality of your experience is going to improve. Another thing is that you realize that we said that last year we spent close to $10 million fixing the fiber that had been cut and all of that. If we are able to go by these standards and also we get other stakeholders to do what they have to do, you would reduce the amount of money that is spent in fixing the fiber.
The Telecommunications Industry Optic Fiber Minimum Specifications and Standards Manual is said to become the national standard document to streamline operations, ultimately limiting fiber optic damages and leading to enhanced and uninterrupted service delivery.
Well, if you love sports, we're ready to give you sports. Joel Champon is all set to bring you the latest from our world of sports. Good evening, Joel.
Good evening, Kweku. Sure, I'm sure you'll be excited to hear this Hatsufolk, their goalkeeper who is Ghana's #1 goalkeeper.
That's right.
He's been gifted a brand new car.
Oh,
yeah, so
amazing.
Exactly. He said we're going to give him a brand new car.
Joel.
Yeah, so we've got this and many more here on the sports segment. Don't go anywhere. All right, let's start with our very first story. And Hatsufolk shortstopper Benjamin Asare has been presented with a brand new car by Alhaji Seydou Agongo, CEO of Class Media Group. The gesture follows a viral video that garnered overwhelming public support for the goalkeeper. In March, Asare drew public attention after he was spotted riding in the front seat of a commercial vehicle just days after making his debut for the Black Stars. He also paid tribute to his coach, Ouattara, and others who have played a key role in supporting his journey. Asare has been pivotal for Accra Hatsufolk this season, recording 15 clean sheets in 24 league appearances. His reliability between the posts for his side has been very instrumental in solidifying the Phobians' defense as they push for a strong finish in the campaign. Let's move away from that and do something on volley, because Ghana's Army hosted their Air Force opponents in week 10 of the ongoing Greater Accra Volleyball League fixture at the Bema Camp Supply Court. In a pulsating draw of 4 sets, Ghana Army proved top customers for the Air Force lads, who are noted for their aerial ability, but they fell short their mark, losing in the first set 24-26, and a repeated one in the second and third sets when Army recorded and scores of 25-21 and 25-15. The fourth and final set went the way of Ghana Army, who secured the needed win 3-2. The game ended in favor of the Army. All right, our team sampled views of some coaches and players of both sides after the game.
We've been playing Air Force for a decade of season, and they've been a torment in our life, especially in volleyball. So coming into this game, I realized that they use more in their middle. So I need to see the middle, then do more defensive work. So if you could see, I even substitute the opposite player and bring a passer so that we can get more pass to load our outside hitters. That was the tricks I used to win the game. As we have achieved something here, but on this the first round, and the second round we're going to go back to them. You can, yes, surely. This is the first time, and then this will be the last time it has happened this way.
Oh, it's a tough game. You know, Ghana Air Force is not a team that we can joke with. They are a team that even though we are all armed forces, but they are our rivals. So the game is.
All right, let's end on this rather not too good news for the national under 20 side. The Black Satellite of Ghana and Ghana's youngster Jerry Efriye has returned to his Spanish side CD Logo after cutting short his involvement in the CAF Under-20 2025 tournament in Egypt. His decision to leave the Black Satellites camp comes following the agreement between his club and the Ghana Football Association. All right, that's it for sports. But for those lovers of the UEFA Champions League, it's still 0-0 Arsenal in their game against PSG at the Parc des Princes. Over to you, Kweku.
All right, so we're coming back with more shortly. Do stay. All right, so let's engage you on Catholic matters. And here, 133 cardinals have convened in the Vatican Sistine Chapel to elect a new pope. Well, under lock and key, these men have been tasked with getting a new leader for 1.5 billion Catholics. Days after former head of the church, Pope Francis, died. Kwabena, my colleague, takes us through the process of electing a new pope behind closed doors of the conclave.
From May 7, 2025, the Catholic Church begins an age-old tradition of electing a new leader, the Pope. Contrary to speculations, the new Pope will not be a successor to the immediate past Pope Francis, but a successor to St. Peter the Apostle, who is considered the first Pope. The election takes place in the Sistine Chapel at the Vatican. Cardinals under the age of 80 years are eligible to elect. The process is held in secret under lock and key. Contact with the outside world is made close to impossible. Because of this, no cardinal is allowed a mobile phone or other telecommunication gadgets. Even Wi-Fi is blocked. And trust the media and other stakeholders to want the scoop on the happenings, but the Vatican sweeps the Sistine Chapel and the St. Martha House, where the cardinals will reside throughout the period, for monitoring bugs and surveillance devices. The cardinals take an oath to observe the procedures set down by the apostolic constitutions to, if elected, defend the liberty of the Holy See. Now locked in the chapel, cardinals vote. Each elector gets a ballot card with a Latin inscription, Eligo in summum pontificem, meaning I elect as supreme pontiff. There, the cardinals write the name of the person they desire to vote for. A 2/3 supermajority vote is required to elect the new pope. Hence, voting can go for multiple rounds and days, but limited to 2 sessions in the morning and another 2 later in the day. An inconclusive result is announced by burning the ballot papers with a special chemical to give off black smoke through the chapel's chimney. Now, fun fact, the longest papal conclave recorded was from November 1261 to 1st September 1271, almost 3 years following the death of Pope Clement IV, leading to the election of Pope Gregory X. Hopefully it does not get to that. But out of the 135 cardinals eligible for this conclave, 2 cardinal electors have announced that they do not plan to attend, decreasing the expected number of participants to 133. Now, out of this number, Italy has 17, with the rest of Europe having 35. North America 20, South America 17, Asia 23, Oceania 4, and Africa 17. While the world watches from outside the walls of the Vatican, the cardinal electors gather in solemn unity to discern and elect the next spiritual leader of over 1 billion Catholics. Regardless of how long the process takes, the world looks out for a white smoke and the words Habemus Papam, meaning we have a pope. The announcement is made from the central balcony of St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican, overlooking St. Peter's Square. Then the new pope is presented to the people, where he gives his first blessing to the city and to the world.
We wish the Catholic Church the very best in the choosing of the next Pope. Well, that'll do for tonight's bulletin, led by Benis Abubaidu. And on behalf of the entire production team tonight, I would want to salute you. But just a gentle reminder that you don't have to flip your channel. It just needs to be here, because the president is coming up with all the details on his first 120 days in office. And of course, this is the channel that brings you nothing than the best of the updates. Do stay with us. My name is Kweku Temeng. I've enjoyed my time with you, and I look forward to bringing you more updates in the coming days. Enjoy your evening. Good evening.